All right. Welcome, everyone, to the December episode of Rainbow Inspirations. It's a partnership with AARP and Blue Ridge Pride Generation Plus program. And this guy right here, Patrick Fitzsimmons, always pulls through when I need him. In our times of working together, there have been many moments where I just needed you, Patrick, and I called you up and I said, "Can you help with this event or something we're doing?" And you said, "Sure, yeah, I'll do it." And I really couldn't have asked for a better person because you are a terrific example of community leadership. So thanks for joining us today,
Oh, well,
Patrick.
thank you. It's my job, Rebecca. Bail you out.
You can't get paid enough for that job, so you have a lot of good points in karma. And so if you have questions or comments, please type them into the comments section on YouTube or Facebook, and we'll just get started. So although I know you in like real time, Patrick, I really know nothing of your history. And this is just as much about getting an oral history for people in our community as anything. So tell me and us a little bit about where you were born, your roots.
Uh, well, I was born in Kansas,
Hmm.
but we were part of an Air Force family, so I'm an Air Force brat. So we moved around a lot during my childhood, lived in several places,
Hmm.
including in Japan during my teenage years, which was a cool experience.
Wow.
And then I went to the University of Tennessee
Huh.
and lived in the East Tennessee Knoxville area for many years before I moved uphill to Asheville to take a job. I moved to Asheville because I had a job. I know that's not the prescribed way you're
No,
supposed
it's
to.
not.
I know you're supposed to arrive here unemployed and seeking spiritual intervention. But in fact, I came because I had a job. But I moved to Asheville almost 20 years ago, and I've been here and have been here since. And so I was the director of the Western North Carolina Red Cross for many years. And then when I retired from there, one of my first retirements, I'm not sure exactly what that retirement means. I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, and then later on I became the executive director of Mountain Bizworks, which is an economic development agency designed to help local entrepreneurs start and achieve business success. And that was a great experience. I think that's probably where I met you, Rebecca.
Yep.
Um, and that was a great experience. And then I retired from there as well a couple of years ago. And my most recent gig is I'm the mayor of Weaverville, North Carolina.
Wow. Well, lucky us, lucky Weaverville. I'm a close neighbor up in North Buncombe to Weaverville and Barnardsville. And yeah, wow, you got your speech down.
Yeah.
That was okay. We're done. It's been 3 minutes. No, I'm just kidding.
But Barnesville, I just consider that North Weaverville.
You're growing your territory. I don't know how Barnardsville would feel about that, Patrick, but no. So you moved around a lot. It was Navy, you said?
Air Force.
Air Force. Air Force. Wow. So how do you think all that moving around affected you and, gave you what was the gift and the barriers and challenges for all that moving around for you?
I would say um, a gift was that it taught me how to move into a new environment quickly and easily and meet new people and not be afraid to join a new group. The downside would be that it probably meant I didn't have some of the really long-term kinds of relationships. Like you might, for many people, including you, may remember, people you had as friends who went to school with you, whereas I don't remember anyone prior to college because we moved around every couple of years. So
So nobody knows what you did back then.
nobody from my
There's
family
no
knows who I
trail,
am or where I'm at. That's right.
which
The
makes it easier to run
incognito was working.
makes it easier to run for office when you've got no trail.
That's exactly right. No one knows. No one knows my skeletons in my closet. My closet is hidden.
So yeah, so with all that moving around, when did you come out to yourself, your family?
I was a late bloomer, as I think many folks of my generation were. So I didn't really come out until my 40s, and I had
Wow.
been married to a woman for many years, a very successful and happy marriage, I would say. Um, but once you open the door, you can't close that door anymore, and so things had a big change in my 40s, of course.
Wow, that sounds pivotal. 40s.
Yeah.
It's a big decade to
It's a
like
good
go
venue, and, and I think it's, and, for folks of our generation, I think even for those of us who think of ourselves as being fairly introspective and self-aware, it was very easy to lie to yourself, no matter how smart you thought you might have been.
Huh. Yeah. Well, the culture, the culture informs so much of our thinking. It
Yes,
can
it
be
does.
really hard to peel away from that.
Yeah,
So, what job were you? Were you with American Red Cross? Were you
I
in?
was.
So you didn't come to Asheville to find yourself, but what so happened was some
But,
sort of
but there probably was a connection in the sense that, where I had previously lived, I had, a well-defined job, a career, and friends and family were there. All these things that probably kept you hidden from your own self, or at least caged up. And when I got to Asheville, well, those things were a little distant, and maybe my ability to see outside became clear, so because all those things that uh, clouded my vision weren't as readily available, if you will. So,
right,
so
right. That's a good point.
yeah.
Yeah. So, how did they take it? How did your family take that news?
It's interesting because I have a bunch of siblings, and so I went to visit my parents and told them, and that was it. Went, as well as it could expect. It wasn't bad, as many people did have really unfortunate experiences with their family. Mine wasn't bad. It wasn't like, oh yay, you're gay, but but it wasn't terrible. And there's 7 siblings, so I know that information is power in any big group or family. So I wrote the same letter to all my siblings and mailed it at the same time. So they all got the same information at the same time. But every one of them called me, and it was really, and embraced it. It was really pretty sweet.
Wow, it sounds like you
This,
were
and this
very
is not this is not some highly educated, fancy family. This is a pretty working class family who probably, well, they think they didn't know any gay people, but they did. But
Isn't that funny how so many people say that they don't think that they know any gay
oh
people?
yes, I would say, yeah, you do. They just keep telling you.
Yeah, yeah, wow. So after that, did you go what like happened next? So you were fairly well embraced. It went as well as it could possibly go, which is awesome. 7 siblings, you said?
Yeah.
8 including you?
Oh, well, no,
Wow.
7, including 7
Okay.
total.
7
7.
total kids are adults now. So like then did you do it at work? Did you come out at work before or after that?
After that, and
Cool.
yes, I did, and it was almost uneventful, almost surprisingly and boringly uneventful.
Yeah.
Some people said, "Oh, I never knew." Other people said, "I always thought so." It's like, maybe you should have said something to me. But it was not, it was not a big issue or a big deal. And I got to tell you, and I feel very positive. Like I've been in the public
Yeah.
quite a bit in my careers, and certainly running for office three or four times now. That's a very public kind of activity, and it has never really been an issue. And I chalked up to a few things. It's not as big of an issue anymore societally. People aren't paying as attention anymore to you. And maybe I think if you just present yourself as who you are and confidently, people just accept it without it being a big deal.
That's wise. No matter what the topic
Right,
is.
and so if running for office is a particularly public kind of endeavor.
Yeah.
I would always have all my talking points and my messaging ready to go, but very rarely have ever had to use it. And I mean, even one time, a good friend of mine decided to run for Congress in the area, and who was a lesbian. And then our local newspaper in Asheville decided to do a front page Sunday newspaper on gay politicians in North Carolina. And it says the only gay politician in Western North Carolina is Patrick Fitzsimmons in Weaverville. I thought, oh crap, now everybody knows, right? Not a peep. And I thought, wow.
How anticlimactic.
I know, exactly. I'm really ready for the worst. I get nothing. So I thought, well, either it's not that big of a deal, or everybody knows, or no one reads the newspaper anymore. All of which may be true.
Well, you're prepared. If anybody
I was prepared, which is always it's always good to be prepared for the worst anyway.
Yeah, right. It's true. That's another good piece of wisdom to remind us of. My colleague in the Triad area recently went to an event in DC where he said, like, I've never seen so many LGBT, especially trans elected officials in one room. He said it was really cool because they were like, were you there, Patrick? Was that
No, I wasn't there.
okay? No, not last week because you are just getting over the flu.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you were not in DC. But I just thought, wow, so that really reflects a shift, in our country, that there's this outness, and I just think that's pretty cool.
It is pretty wonderful, and let me give you an idea of the shift there. So when that article ran that I was telling you about, there was a professor of political science at UNC in Chapel Hill who decided to have this forum or whatever, and invited all the gay elected officials in the whole state of North Carolina, all 12 of us, and so we all went down there. It was pretty
Wow.
interesting, and of the 12 of us, some of us were actually already out of office. There wasn't that many. But it's grown quite a bit since then. And I remember that professor who had done this research on this issue saying that only 0.02% of all elected officials in the state were gay, which we all know is incorrect. We all know it's far more than that. It's just only 0.02% were able to be out about it. I hope and pray that has significantly increased since that time. And that was, I don't know, a few years ago.
Yeah, I believe it has. It's cool. Like one of my
There's two gay mayors in North Carolina.
wow. Okay,
Yeah,
two. There's
double.
got to be more.
There's more, but
Yeah.
there are two of us who acknowledge it.
There's a lot of cities and towns in North Carolina. It reminds me of like you and I think maybe first cross paths, but even before Mountain Bizworks, that was ARP. But when I was working with the LGBT Elder Advocates, which later became Generations Plus, and what was it? I've freaking lost my train of thought. I had an anecdote, but it doesn't matter. This is about you, anyways. So back to the American Red Cross, because you had quite a career there, right? It was a 28-year career.
That's correct.
Wow. Well, so tell us about working with American Red Cross and how that affected you and how you affected that system, what you felt you contributed to the organization. I'm curious.
Well, I have a real affinity for the Red Cross, and I think I have a real rescuer archetype buried deep inside me that I can't seem to squash or get rid of. So working at the Red Cross for all those years gave me a real outlet for that, because everything we did was all built around some type of emergency. Either it was a disaster relief, or it was blood operations, or teaching health and safety. It was all built around addressing emergencies. And like I said, I have a real need to do that. So it gave me a real opportunity to express that rescuer archetype and to be involved in helping people through emergency situations. So I had a real great experience in the Red Cross for a long time, and I appreciate them and thank them for my pension. And but it's a great organization really built around addressing people when they're in emergencies.
So it sounds like it was a really good fit. If you stayed for 28 years and you have that passion, it allowed you to express that archetype of hero. That's great. AARP also has like a national relationship with American Red Cross. And so we're working through some nuances of that locally, but I'm excited to partner more with the American Red Cross.
With you guys, and so it gave me an opportunity to be the rescuer that I am deep inside a little bit, but also for the last 10 years or so, I was the director of the Western Carolina region. And, the way the Red Cross was organized in those days was we were very much independent organization. So it also appealed to the entrepreneurial side of trying to build things that are and create things that really meet the needs of our local community, as opposed to maybe being part of something big and national. So it was hitting me good on both fronts, my entrepreneurial front and my rescuer front.
Say more about the entrepreneurial front. Did you know about that before you went to American Red Cross? That you had that that thread?
I didn't know that, but I just certainly discovered that while I was there, because we really were independent organizations where we had to, you had to raise your own local support, and you had to design programs that met your local community. I mean, there were certain national basic programs, but you could design them to fit your local community. So that very much appealed to me, and I think that also prepared me for my subsequent career with Mountain Bizworks, which was all built around helping people express their entrepreneurial spirit and also realizing that how entrepreneurs in general contribute towards economic justice in our society. Throughout my career, I've always been involved in social justice work in some capacity, either as a volunteer or as a paid person. But I gotta say, one thing I realized about working those years with Mountain Bizworks is when you can put capital in somebody's hand and they can change their lives, that is the most demonstrative way to accomplish social justice. Because with people, then they hire people and they hire people and they build success and they spread that justice. So I can always remember with all those social justice outfits I was working with, we were always struggling, trying to get from grant to try and make it, try and have them some kind of impact. But I discovered that economic justice is the way to have the greatest impact on accomplishing justice in our society. So,
wow,
well, entrepreneurs.
Go entrepreneurs. And we all know that people 50 plus are the fastest, are very successful entrepreneurs. They're a good proportion of the entrepreneurs out there, and they tend to be more successful than their younger counterparts. So go encore entrepreneurs.
That's right.
Yeah.
And in fact, ARP has a cool name. I think you called returning entrepreneurs. I forget the name y'all use, but we worked with ARP on a program trying to help returning entrepreneurs or people who have a success in their career come to being entrepreneur with all the basic skills already in place. We just need to kind of redirect that energy or to redirect those skills. So you're right. Older entrepreneurs are more likely to be successful at being so.
I mean, yeah. So the word that we use is encore entrepreneurs. It's kind of
there you go.
It's a mouthful, but it's kind of cute, and it reflects because it is like an encore. Like you've had this career, now encore, like you get to show up in your best self, and you kind of have done that with a few of your careers, right? You've had some encores, and it sounds like Mountain Bizworks was really meaningful to you and opened up. You learned a lot, you shared a lot. How long were you with Mountain Bizworks?
I was in business for 6 years, and Bizworks provided me a unique opportunity again, giving me those two opportunities to be an entrepreneur and a rescuer. When I got to Bizworks, they had gone through a big turmoil, and they'd fired their director, and they were in financial problems. So I get to rescue this organization, which is designed to promote entrepreneurs, and so an obvious fit for me.
Right, now I'm understanding why you rescue me, and now you're the person to call.
Yeah.
So, how do you know when you're done? You had a 28-year career with American Red Cross. How did you know you were done there? And then how did you know you were done with Mountain Bizworks?
So I hesitate to use the word done.
Right. Okay. Got it.
See, I told you, I'm still trying to figure out what this retirement thing means. Obviously retirement to me does not mean you're done. It means you're doing something different.
How did you know you were done with that chapter? I guess.
I felt like I knew I was done because I had, like at Bizworks, for example, I knew what my goals were when I went into the organization, and once I had, help them rescue them, if you will, from their financial duress and gotten them into being successful. I had done my part. I had brought the value I could bring. I had brought. So it was time for me to go do something new. And I think that's probably the same at the Red Cross too. The value I could really bring, the impact I could put into that place, I had done. So now it's time to go try something new elsewhere.
That's good. That's useful because sometimes it's hard to know when you're done. When you're good at something and you've been doing it for a long time, you can kind of do it like you're on autopilot.
It feels comfortable,
If it feels comfortable, you might be done.
Right. That might well be an indicator, actually. If you're that comfortable, you might be done.
How's it going as mayor?
I have this graphic I sometimes use in my work. It says growth and pain, growth and comfort. They just don't go together. Growth requires some degree of discomfort. And so if you're totally comfortable, you're probably not growing.
Shoot, man. I hope y'all watching this press share because there's some nice little gems coming out of this conversation that I know are useful for me. Yeah. So as mayor, you've had 2 terms. Is that right?
No, I'm in my first term as mayor. I was on the city council prior to becoming mayor.
Okay. So what year did you join as Weaverville's mayor? Did you become the mayor? Was that
Uh,
2020? Was that the
2020, yes.
Okay, I was off. I
Same.
thought it was 2019. Okay, well, it seems like it's been a whole lifetime already, it seems like.
You're telling me.
So you were on the town council before you became mayor. Like, why did you decide to become mayor? Like, I always think that's this public service roles are so hard, and they're so they don't pay you much. I mean, you really have to have a passion for this. So
Well, I'm just the kind of person who always gets engaged. I lived in Weaverville for some time and felt,
yeah,
it's my community. I want to do things to make it as the greatest community that it can be. Uh, and I enjoy being a leader, and I think I have some skills in that regard. And so I decided to run for office and won. And I feel like I feel like we're making some impact in town, and we're a community that's really going through a lot of change, both demographically and culturally, and trying to help guide people and communities through change is a very important task. That if done well can really be beautiful, and if done badly can really be ugly.
so are you feeling a little bit of that discomfort, and
I
that's
am definitely
causing you growth?
I'm definitely feeling some of that discomfort, and certainly being in a elected office, people are very willing to tell you when you're screwing up or when they're
Right.
not happy.
How do you deal with that? How do you deal with people who are disgruntled or have something negative to say? Con-
I listen a lot. I try not to, and I only respond if it's necessary.
mm.
And I've learned a lot of times when I first started in politics, I thought I had to respond to every email and every message I got, and then I realized that a lot of times people just need to vent. They really aren't looking for a response from me. If they're asking me a question or if they're asking me to do something I can do, that's one thing. If they just want to call up and complain, that's okay. I don't have to respond to that.
Wow, that is a good tip. I'm gonna. I'm not sure I can always take that one, but yeah, I think that that's true. So, um, you're enjoying this time as mayor. It's challenging. Anything else that you want to say about like your vision or your role in the current time? Like, what do you said once you've achieved your goals, then it's time to move on. And I'm curious if you have specific goals around um,
Uh,
mayor.
I have generalized goals around, and
Yeah,
like I say, right now we in my community we really are going through a lot of growth, a lot of development. A lot of people are moving to our area, and that brings a whole host of both benefits and problems for people. When people who've lived in a certain community for a long time, experiencing their community changing and the character changing, that makes them very anxious. Even if some of those changes are bringing positives to the community, that really makes people uncomfortable. So helping people get through that, or helping the community develop and
yeah,
change in a way that's comfortable for the residents, and in a way that we make sure that community is the kind of community that we want, the kind of community that we will love when we're done, is an important thing. And if we don't manage it, then if people are it's like you're going to scare away development or stop development or growth. It's going to come anyway. Better you manage it and try and build something that you're all going to be proud of, as opposed to just letting whatever the hell's going to happen and then hope for the best.
right. Yeah, I guess I heard at some point that you're always managing. You're either just passively managing, doing nothing, or you're actively managing and kind of focusing all the energy and resources. So that's Weaverville's very lucky to have you there, Patrick. Did you freeze or did I freeze? Hmm. Looks like we have a frozen.
We're frozen. I see little things flying
Oh,
around.
there you are.
There
We're
we
we're all back now.
go.
Just a little frozen capsule in time. Yeah, were you gonna say
People,
something else about this?
people often want to say, "Oh, but our community is so wonderful and trauma and justice is. I don't want it to change." And I say, "I understand that, because me too. But you know what? When does that happen in the world or in life? Right? You don't change. Of course, it's going to change. Nothing stays the same forever."
Hmm. Man, you make me wanna do good things for people, Patrick. You make me wanna
Good.
be a
Well,
leader and
you already are doing good things. I hope that you will continue to do so.
yeah, well, I will, and I get fueled up by conversations like these and seeing people who are just a little bit further down the path with lots of energy, continuing to give and feel passionate. So what's like you have any idea what your next chapter is? You said there's like retirement, like really is kind of like a what do you mean kind of word. What do you think is the next chapter for you? Anything that comes to mind?
Well, this chapter has a ways to go. I did get
Yeah,
elected for a 4-year term, so I got a little ways to go.
good.
Uh, but I have a couple of friends who have some minor little jobs I could do kind of for fun. I think working in tourism. I happen to live
Ooh,
in two wonderful places. I live in Weaverville, which is a wonderful place. And I also have a place down at the coast, which is a new opportunity for me. So I'm developing a sense of community there as well. And I have a friend who runs a local museum. He's wanting me to help him out with the museum, which a history museum,
that's
which is
cool.
a cool experience. But I think I'm done working full time. I think.
Okay. Well, it's just amazing to me that there's like you're one person yet you always feel so there's enough of you to go around. Like it always feels like you can be generous with yourself somehow. And maybe it's that discernment of, you don't need to answer every email sort of thing. But that's really great that you're able to share your energy and being present with two communities and like potentially some arts in the future, some working in tourism and arts. That's awesome.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, you've already left us with a lot of little gems. Is there anything else that, like anything that inspires you that you would like to share with others, or any words of inspiration that you would like to share with others?
Oh, I think only to not look for completion because who wants that? You know. So you never want to be
Wow.
done.
I'm
So
gonna just take that word away from my
that's right.
okay. Done. What's done? It's just
What is that?
changing.
That's right.
Yeah. My husband has a little quote. He says, "I'm healthy, I'm whole, I'm changing." And I just like that.
I
Yeah.
think
So
that's pretty wise.
you're never done.
That's right.
Wow. Wow. Well, I hope people will share this, and give a big bow of appreciation to Blue Ridge Pride Generation Plus, who is always putting on programs for people, LGBTQ community members and allies over 50. Check it out. You can go to blueridgepride.org page and learn more about Generation Plus. We also have a holiday gathering coming right up, and let me just see if I can pull yep, it's this Sunday at 4 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm just going to put that in the comment section if people want to go to it, get together, go to a gathering. It's going to be welcoming and it's going to be a good place and a good experience for all. So with that, thank you, Patrick. Thanks for saving the day. Thanks for joining us and jumping right in.
Thanks for your good work, Rebecca. Keep it up.
Oh, my pleasure. Okay. Bye bye.